Mamdani bent the knee. He punked the out of him. First of all, when you two men meet, you sit down if you're equals. You stand next to me with your hands crossed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when to talk. And what, you ain't never punked nobody before? Oh, it's beautiful. I've made him stand right there, don't move.
Tyrus avoids political conversation like a storm avoids the shoreline. When he enters a debate, he does not gently participate. He overwhelms it, like a sudden flash of lightning breaking through a silent sky.
This cruelty is no faraway concept. ICE operates here in New York, in our courthouses, our workplaces. They skulk at 26 Federal Plaza, the same building where I waited in fear as my father had his citizenship in.
The moment his attention turns toward Zohran Mamdani, the tone of the room shifts. This is no ordinary TV exchange. It feels like a seasoned fighter stepping into the arena, locking eyes with an idea, and challenging it to survive in the real world. If you were expecting calm discussion or soft disagreement, this turns into something far more intense.
Trump's laughing and smiling because he's got him.
Yeah.
Mamdani didn't come in there. He sold, we call it wolf tickets. He sold all these, he's a this, he's a that. And when I get there, I'm going to tell him this. He went in the office, he's like, don't sit down. And what was that you said last February? Oh, sir, I was hoping if you could help me with my buses. And sure, let's go do a press conference. Like, that was ultimate Trump. That's how you are not such a non-threat that you can stand next to me like you're in an altar and a choir boy while I'm holding business at the big man desk.
Before anything else, make sure to like and subscribe because this one is worth watching till the end. Zohran Mamdani has become a major voice in New York's progressive politics. He speaks in the language of change, justice, and system reform, ideas that spread quickly online and inspire younger audiences. To supporters, he represents progress and the future. To critics, he represents a test of how far idealism can go before reality forces it to slow down.
I think normally we would not condone booing, but I feel like the audience, you may boo away for 5 seconds if you'd like to. That is to cheat on a bench press. And listen, when you and I were hanging and banging today, we were down there throwing, hey, don't get it twisted. He might be a 27-year-old virgin, but he can throw bench with the best of them. And we were down there, and you were watching that video.
Then there is Tyrus, former wrestler and media figure, known for speaking his mind without hesitation. He approaches political debate the same way he approached competition in the ring, direct, firm, and unwilling to soften his stance for comfort or approval.
I think he had it coming. Let's be honest. I don't think it was the constituents that voted for him that hurt him. I think it's the constituents that aren't here anymore because of him that hurt him.
Senior vote matters.
Yes, and somewhere shout out to Janice Dean. Not on our watch, mama. So having said that, but listen, Jesse, I want to add, you have very strong convictions and rules, and you don't drink with a straw.
As Mamdani's ideas gained attention, Tyrus did not dismiss them lightly. Instead, he pushed back strongly, arguing that while they may sound appealing in theory, they often struggle when measured against real economic limits and practical consequences.
We can rely on our faith to offer an embrace of one another. After all, few forces hold as much power to extend humanity to all. As Dr. King once said, the church is the one place where a doctor ought to forget that he's a doctor. The church is the one place where the lawyer ought to forget that he's a lawyer. When the church is true to its nature, it says, whosoever will, let him come.
At first glance, Mamdani's proposals can sound very convincing. Who would not want cheaper rent in a city where housing costs feel out of reach for many people? Who would object to asking large corporations to contribute more if it helps struggling families? On the surface, it feels like straightforward fairness and common sense.
I mentioned it in monologue, Tyrus. You're dealing with a 34-year-old guy with no world experience,
right?
Who believes that there is such thing as government-sponsored childcare that's going to be great. High quality.
Sure.
That's why Kat said bro, because he's only 34.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. I kind of feel like New York, you get what you get.
Yeah.
That's the best you could put forward. Mamdani didn't beat anyone.
But Tyrus focuses on what happens after the slogans. He argues that controlling rent without increasing housing supply does not solve the problem. It creates new pressure elsewhere. He also questions whether higher taxes on wealthy individuals in a city already losing residents to lower tax states might push even more people and businesses away. At this point, the argument becomes bigger than politics. It becomes a question about whether bold promises survive contact with real budgets and real economic behavior. Tyrus compares it to promising a full banquet without checking if there is enough food in the kitchen. Critics of his view argue the opposite, saying housing pressure, inequality, and rising costs require strong intervention. They see Mamdani's ideas as necessary correction, not risk. This is where the debate sharpens, because both sides believe they are being realistic. One side trusts markets and incentives, while the other trusts structural reform and government action.
And you were about to lose your mind. You were like, that's not even 45 pounds. You noticed that on each side. That looks to, what did you think it looked like, Joe?
That plate looked smaller than the ones I get at Golden Corral to be 45 pounds. I'll say this, I'm a bodybuilder, Tyrus. I just started yesterday, but
Yes.
I am a bodybuilder. And
He's ahead of schedule.
yeah, the hardest part is that people laugh when you tell them that you're a bodybuilder. But I will say this, it was an embarrassment from start to finish because after he failed to bench press the 135 pounds.
Tyrus goes further and questions a wider trend he sees in modern politics, especially on the left. He argues there is a belief that good intentions automatically guarantee good results. He warns that cities experimenting with heavy regulation often discover that businesses and investors react in ways lawmakers did not expect. Some reduce investment, others relocate, and tax revenue can shift over time. He asks a simple but difficult question that often gets avoided. What happens if these policies fail? For many supporters of large-scale reform, the current system already feels broken, so big change feels necessary rather than risky. That is why this debate feels symbolic. It is not just about one city or one politician. It is about whether caution is wisdom or delay.
That doctrine, whosoever will, let him come, is not limited to Christianity. Each of our faiths asks us the same. I think of Exodus 23:9, the words of the Torah. Thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for ye know the heart of a stranger, seeing ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Few have stood so steadfast alongside the persecuted as Jewish New Yorkers. I think of Michael Schwerner and Andrew Goodman, who gave their lives alongside James Chaney so that all could exercise the right to the franchise.
The interesting part of this clash is that both sides are reacting to real frustrations. Tyrus speaks for people who feel overwhelmed by rising costs and worried about economic experiments that could backfire. Mamdani represents people who feel ignored by the current system and believe it protects inequality. Tyrus argues that policies like rent control and higher taxation can reduce investment and slow development. Supporters of Mamdani argue that without strong intervention, the housing crisis will only worsen. The debate is not simple because both perspectives connect to real concerns. One focuses on economic stability, the other focuses on fairness and urgency.
Never trust a man who yells on a microphone. There is no reason to yell and scream on a microphone, and it seems all of his emotional outbursts are within a foot of a camera. So this is also anyone who ever needed to make a motivational commercial for why you don't want to live in New York, this would be it. Now, New Yorkers have a choice. Mayor Adams, who has put the city before politics, that is where you're going. The streets are cleaning up. We're seeing reductions in crime.
Mamdani's approach is often more structured in policy terms. He connects local problems like rent and wages to broader ideas about capitalism and inequality. His supporters see his language as necessary change, not disruption. That is why the disagreement with Tyrus is more than personal. It reflects a larger ideological divide about how cities should evolve. New York becomes more than just a city in this discussion. It becomes a symbol. If Mamdani's ideas succeed, others may follow. If they fail, critics will use it as proof that the approach does not work. At the same time, his rise also reflects a generational shift, where younger voters are more open to aggressive reform and less patient with slow, gradual change.
He then kicked a soccer ball at the men's festival. What's next? He's going to pee sitting down? I don't know about that. But I do want to make the point that it's just not all bench press. When I'm at the gym, I max out on the thigh abductor machine, so much so that my nickname's actually Thigh Abductor at the gym, as well as KFC.
I'm not going to ask what the KFC stands for. I'm just going to assume it's some form of chicken.
This is what keeps the debate alive. New York operates under constant pressure, from housing costs to business challenges to political expectations. In that environment, Mamdani's ideas appear as bold solutions to urgent problems. Tyrus, on the other hand, sees that same environment as too fragile for experiments that could destabilize it further. For him, the concern is simple. You cannot disrupt the system that keeps a city running and expect it to function better immediately afterward. He believes economic consequences follow incentives, whether intended or not. If conditions become too restrictive, investment and growth can slow down. Supporters of reform argue that without bold action, inequality will continue to grow. Both sides see risk, just in different directions.
A disgraced governor he only won by 13.
Yeah.
And you just there's 8 million people between here and Times Square
Who didn't vote.
From Tyrus's perspective, cities depend on investment, business confidence, and steady growth. He argues that if policies discourage development or drive away property owners, housing supply becomes even more limited. That, in turn, makes affordability worse, not better. He points to real-world examples where capital and companies move when conditions become unfavorable. His argument is not emotional, but structural. He believes systems respond to incentives, and ignoring that reality leads to unintended outcomes. Mamdani supporters respond that protecting existing systems has already failed to solve the housing crisis, and that stronger intervention is required to correct long-standing imbalance.
So, and his socialist is the same as Bernie's socialist and all socialists. Socialism for you, not for me. He's going to make sure he's in the mansion. He's going to make sure he's making money and all these other kinds, and everyone else is supposed to share and attack the rich. So again, this is a horrible look for New York. I hope that the people, this is why I don't live in New York. Hopefully they'll make good choices and do what's best for the people, not party. Because this guy, the only thing I see him do is yell and scream. And Jesse, I'm hoping that I get approval from you to add that.
At the core of this debate are two very different philosophies. Tyrus focuses on trade-offs. Every policy has a cost, every rule changes behavior, and every tax shifts incentives. Mamdani focuses on fairness. If a system produces inequality, it should be changed even if the process is difficult or disruptive. Neither side is shallow, and both are rooted in different interpretations of justice and practicality. Tyrus also presents himself as a voice for people who feel ignored in political conversations, especially small business owners and working families who worry about rising costs. He argues that ideology sometimes moves faster than real-world consequences, especially in major cities where financial systems are complex and interconnected.
And going into a situation knowing you have no idea what you're doing and doing it anyways because you'll just wing it.
Yeah.
Now that's bench press, right? And luckily he had someone there to curl that weight off him. Is that how you're going to handle law enforcement? That's how you're going to handle immigrants? Now all of a sudden federal grocery stores make sense coming from a guy who has no idea what he's doing. He just does things. And how can you lead if you actually don't have any experience in any?
Mamdani would likely respond that slow change has already failed to solve major problems like housing affordability and wage pressure. From his view, waiting longer only deepens inequality. This is why the conflict is larger than two individuals. It reflects a national divide between gradual reform and structural change, between trusting markets and reshaping them. Both are reacting to what they see as failure, just from opposite directions. Tyrus sees risk in intervention. Mamdani sees risk in inaction. The question underneath everything is simple but difficult. What actually works in practice, not just in theory?
They don't care who the mayor is. They had a mayor who was law and order. Now we got to get rid of him. He likes the police too much.
Yeah.
Now they're going to have a mayor in who says high quality child care.
And no police.
Yeah. There's another word for that. It's called trafficking. So no one is going to leave their child with an underpaid, angry person. You just leave them with your wife. But I'm just saying, what? The wives are underappreciated, right, husbands? Yeah.
In the end, people are left somewhere between these two visions. If Mamdani's approach succeeds, it could influence other cities across the country. If it fails, critics like Tyrus will see it as proof that economic limits cannot be ignored. Either way, the outcome matters beyond one city. Many urban areas face similar challenges with housing, cost of living, and growth. That is why this debate feels bigger than politics. It is about direction. Whether cities should prioritize stability or transformation, caution or bold change. As the discussion continues across media and public spaces, one thing is clear. This disagreement is not going away. It reflects a deeper question about how modern cities should be built and who should decide their future. And with that, the discussion continues beyond any single moment or clip.